Well, welcome back to another speaker's tip. Today, I want to talk to you about internalizing your speech so you know what you're going to say. And I'm going to summarize this in two different ways I see people basically absorb that speech so they can give it. One is they memorize the speech. Now, the word memorize means commit to our memory, which means we have to remember the speech. And if you remember, like when you were in school or when you were young, if you memorized a poem, you would commit the poem to memory. And if you ever messed up giving the poem, you had to stop and go back and start giving the poem again because you said a word out of sequence. And the problems that I dealt with if I ever tried to memorize the speech, and there's a number of things I've memorized, but on trying to memorize a speech, if you mess up in the speech, it completely throws you off because you're just simply trying to remember what word is coming after the next word, and you're going to say it in that sequence. The other thing with memorization is you're in your head. And one of the big things with speaking is to be able to get out of your head, meaning your attention, all your focus is internal, you're looking internally into your mind, trying to talk to the audience instead of really being out there talking to the audience. So on one side, we have memorizing your speech. The other side, I call it knowing your speech. And when you know it, you know it. And the example I give on these two, difference between memorization and knowing, is a true life example with me. It has nothing to do with speaking, but let me give it to you. Several years ago, like 25 years ago, I did a project in Berlin, Germany. Now, I live in Los Angeles. I don't speak or read German. And I was staying in a flat on one side of town and had to drive across town to the work location. So I had some people show me the path, and I had to memorize the path. And since I didn't speak German, I would go 2 blocks to the Blue Bakery, turn right, go 3 blocks, to the supermarket, turn left, get on the Autobahn, get off the water tower, and I had to memorize exactly how to go to work and exactly how to come back. And if I missed a turn, I had to go around the block and get back on the path because I didn't know the streets of Berlin. Now in Los Angeles, where I live, I know the streets. And if I'm heading down a freeway, and familiar with Los Angeles, if I'm coming down the 101 freeway and it starts to back up, I can pop off and come down Ventura Boulevard, and I can alter my path and still get to my destination because I know where I'm going. Now let's look at that with speaking. If you know your subject and you know what you want to say, you don't have to remember every single word and be in your head and just say the next word. You can talk about the subjects and you know the destination you want to wind up at. And so the communication starts to be much more authentic. And it's also, you're out of your head talking to the people in the audience, not in your head trying to remember the next word that you're supposed to say and the inflection you're supposed to put on it. So the simplicity is, I'm not a big fan of memorizing your speeches. I am a big fan of knowing them. And how do I go about that? Well, I give my speech over and over and over again until I have internalized it and I truly know it. But I want to do it to the point where I can pause anywhere in it. I'm not worried about saying a word or a sequence out of line. I understand the concepts I'm going to get across. I understand the sequence of stories, the sequence of examples I'm giving, and I understand the destination. I know the destination I want to wind up with the speech, so therefore I can talk through it in a very natural and real delivery rather than a sort of rote, memorized delivery. And one of the more difficult things I will say I have done, I've memorized some fairly lengthy, humorous, like poems and things, and to actually say those and have them not sound memorized is tricky because you have to say them word for word, but actually to deliver them in a way that is completely natural is a challenge. So even when I have memorized things, I try to internalize it to the point where I know it well enough, I can just say it like I'm talking to you. And then people can't believe I can say that many things in a rhyming fashion. Anyway, that's the tip for today. Know your material. Don't memorize it, but you can go through memorization to get to knowing it. Okay, I hope that helps you.